first song that really drew me in was a Moby song called Porcelain. I was young, only 10 or 11 I'd say when that came out. And that's the first song I ever remember really falling in love with. In my teens I started listening to trance, and it wasn't until I started going to clubs that I got into techno and house. That was a really amazing time. I became obsessed. It was just playing this really deadly deep house, and I was just like, whoa. What is this? I need to know more about this. Just the feeling in the music. I was never really into bands or singers, like that just never really drew me in, but it was just something about this sound, these sounds that were catching me, you know. Inspiration-wise, Nina Kravitz, I'd always mention her. If it wasn't for her, I would have never realised that I could make a career from this. She was playing records, I play records. She was playing similar style to me. I could really relate to her. I just thought she was brilliant and so talented. Regardless of the stick she got over being a beautiful woman, she has skills no matter what people want to say.
My kind of love affair with electronic music started when I was around 13. I used to be really into like heavy rock and stuff like that. And then I went to a summer camp, met a girl. She was really into, you know, like DJ Bonnie and stuff like that. So my taste quickly changed. And then when I went back to school that September, that all kind of just accelerated loads, and that was actually kind of when I started falling out of love with playing the guitar and got kind of into the DJing side of things. I'm based in Windmill Lane Recording Studios, which is kind of the premier studio in the country. It's definitely the most well-known. Doing that has really kind of excelled my technical stuff. The only problem with that I find there is that the perfectionist in me really comes out, and I kind of force myself into hiding all my stuff away on a hard drive and not letting anybody hear it, which is definitely kind of my biggest flaw with regards to music. I've got some really cool stuff in the way. I've been working a lot on sound design and synthesis and stuff, so creating textures and ambiences.
I think my music is probably really the emphasis more on kind of rhythm and energy. Sonic kind of quality, sculpting sounds, and you know, those kind of minute details. The emotional response doesn't have to be some kind of like you know, hairs in the back of your neck kind of thing. It can be just like the emotion of the release of energy, or you know, or aggression even. You know, that's an emotive quality.
I actually have a full-time job as a carpenter and joiner, you know, like along with the music as well. If you kind of look at how you make a song or a track, they actually correlate. They're actually quite similar, because you're piecing something together bit by bit, and that works in the music as well as in the carpentry. Like, so in that sense, you're building something, you're constructing something together to make one piece. So it's actually quite similar, I think.
When I make music, it tends to be, especially when I make my own stuff, it's a real form of escapism for me. And I kind of always go back to the place that I was in when I go back to stuff. It can often be a reason why I don't go back to a lot of music, you know, and a reason that I kind of hold stuff personal to me, because they're my songs, you know, they're my times. I love creating texture, creating ambience, but the most important thing to grip somebody emotionally is always going to be the melody. It's what people go home singing that or humming that. No one's going to remember what the kick drum's doing or what the hi-hats are doing. It's all about the melody. It's the most important part. If you can get something that a 3-year-old can recount back to you, then you've done the right thing.
Your current state of mind and your emotions has a huge impact on the music you're making. If, for example, a track I might make when I'm feeling down or sad or upset over something will sound completely different to something I might make if I'm in a good mood, or if I'm buzzing over something. There'll just be no comparison in it. I think it's just best to try and calm your mind, let yourself feel, and just put your hands to your machines and see what comes out.
You bring out emotions in the music by using certain instruments. I find that pads and strings can kind of have that effect on people, whereas it wouldn't be a percussion thing. That's not gonna, I would find personally, I think that wouldn't draw out as much emotion as a pad or a string. I feel that it doesn't matter what you have, it's all about the person using it. You can force out any emotion through anything if you really, really mean it. A perfect example is a guy like Fortet, who made his last album completely on a laptop, where people would have been scratching their chins going, I wonder what synth, I wonder what machine he used there, and it's a beautiful album as well. It's a bit of a fuck you to everyone else, but it's a wake-up call as well. The people that are saying you need this, you need that, you don't need fucking anything. But you can draw emotion. We can draw emotion out of anything.
Totally unique sense of belonging in the electronic music community.
I really like how those shows bring such a large proportion of people together, like let's say at the last Macioplex show there could have been two guys from Lithuania could have met each other that otherwise wouldn't have, because they were both into Macioplex, and it just happens at those big shows, and that's really cool.
If you go to a club, I've never seen a fight in a techno club before. I've been in a bar and there's just fights everywhere. So the music will, it brings people together. Same in Belfast, when there was the trouble then. People were going to the same gigs and there was no trouble, and I think that's amazing. There's a war going on, and then yet when they go to the same gig, regardless of backgrounds, religion, etc., they still come together and they're mates for that night, So that's really powerful, I think.
I'm just following what I feel is like some kind of a journey into sound. I've got more control when I'm playing live. I can isolate any element, or I can go down a certain road with the sound. Like whatever else is going on in life is just kind of goes into the background, and you're in that place then.
My time away from everything else, and I'm like trying to connect with people and get away from everything as well.
It's actually a primal thing. I've read that a kick drum, for example, that awakens like this primal thing inside you. That's how we connect to it so well, just raw, repetitive sounds, because that's the kind of music that the ancestors would have been playing back in the day. I believe that just having a mix at home is a form of meditation. A few hours in the studio has a similar effect. It's just a way to reset yourself and offload emotions. Even just, yourself sitting back and listening to music that you love. It just soothes the soul. It's brilliant. It should be used more widely as a form of therapy, I think.
Machines have really evolved, and the way we play them has evolved a lot. So where it used to be sequencers and really maybe a two-voice polyphony, so you could play maybe two notes at one time on a keyboard, that's changed now to 60 voices. And that's really pushing the boundary with how we can express. But I definitely feel like the way technology is moving forward and the accessibility of it as well, I definitely feel like that's affecting it. I went to the Hasnita Classical show in the Tree Arena, and those songs have way more meaning when they're played by machines than they do when they're played by an orchestra, in my opinion anyway.
Music has a profound effect on people's emotions, and you really can't deny that, you know. And it always will, like, you know. And it can make people cry, it can make people happy, you know. And that's the beauty of it.